global economy is fundamentally different today than it was yesterday. The system of global trade anchored on the United States that Canada has relied on since the end of the Second World War, a system that, while not perfect, has helped to deliver prosperity for our country for decades, is over. Our old relationship of steadily deepening integration with the United States is over. The 80-year period when the United States embraced the mantle of global economic leadership, when it forged alliances rooted in trust and mutual respect, and championed the free and open exchange of goods and services, is over.
Brace yourselves. Tonight we reveal how America's own economic bullets tariffs have ricocheted, hitting home harder than anyone expected. Once allies in energy, Canada and Qatar are now pivoting away from Washington and toward Europe. Billions of dollars, millions of barrels, and decades of diplomacy tossed aside. What went wrong? And who's cashing in on America's mistake? This is the global energy betrayal you weren't supposed to see. Welcome to the gas war of 2025. Before we tear into this global shakeup, hit subscribe and smash that bell icon, because at Live News 16, we don't just report the news, we expose the power play shaping our world. Good evening, I'm Jonathan Geller, and this is Live News 16, where we don't sugarcoat global chaos. Tonight, we expose a geopolitical betrayal fueled by American policy. The U.S., in a bid to protect its energy sector, imposed heavy tariffs on foreign liquefied natural gas, especially from Canada. But instead of giving U.S. energy the upper hand, those tariffs triggered a mass exodus. Canada and Qatar, the world's energy titans, are now cutting long-term gas deals with Europe, bypassing the U.S. entirely. And while they're getting rich, America's economy is gasping for air. The intention was classic protectionism tariffs on foreign LNG to give American producers a leg up. But that move, that one strategic decision, ignored one brutal reality. The U.S. needs foreign partnerships to dominate the global energy market. The tariffs made Canadian LNG less competitive in the U.S., forcing Canadian exporters to look east. And what did they find? A Europe begging for gas after Russian pipelines ran dry. The moment was perfect. The West needed energy security Canada and Qatar delivered. The U.S. missed the bus entirely. And Qatar. The Gulf gas giant pivoted overnight, snubbing American terminals and flooding European and Asian markets with deals too sweet to ignore. In trying to become the global gatekeeper, America became the doorman watching opportunity walk away. Let's talk raw numbers. Canada's LNG export capacity is exploding. The new LNG Canada terminal in British Columbia will push out 14 million tons of gas annually, none of it to the U.S. In fact, over 90% of Canada's future contracts are now bound for Germany, the Netherlands, and Japan. Why? Because American buyers refused to pay the inflated costs triggered by tariffs. Meanwhile, Europe paid top dollar, desperate to cut ties with Russia. Qatar swooped in too, signing 25-year mega deals with Italy and France, offering flexible pricing and fast delivery. What we're seeing is a global energy realignment. The players didn't change, the playing field did, and the U.S. was left holding the rulebook while others rewrote the game. Back home, the effects are brutal. Natural gas prices are climbing $5 a gallon at the pump in some states, especially in the Northeast. Utilities are jacking up winter heating costs, and factories relying on cheap gas are laying off workers. And the gas hubs in Texas and Louisiana? Silent. U.S. terminals that once bustled with outbound exports are now facing delays, underuse, and downsizing. The very tariffs that were supposed to supercharge American gas have created a bottleneck, and it's bursting. You want numbers? Job losses in the gas industry are approaching 30,000 since Q3 last year. LNG export revenue has dropped 17%. Meanwhile, Wall Street analysts are downgrading U.S. energy stocks in droves. This isn't just a market hiccup, it's a strategic failure, a trade war with no winners, only wounded. Europe, crippled by Russia's gas exit, has now embraced Canada and Qatar as its new energy lifelines. And not just temporarily. Long-term deals are locking in non-American suppliers for decades. These deals are reshaping everything from fuel pricing to foreign policy. Even Japan, once heavily dependent on U.S. LNG, has now diverted 65% of new import contracts to Canadian companies. China? They're getting sweet deals from Qatar and building stronger energy ties with Europe to balance out Western tensions. America's isolationist policy, its obsession with protecting domestic markets, has backfired. Instead of strengthening allies, it handed them over to competitors on a silver platter. Let's zoom out. This isn't just a pricing issue. This is economic soft power, the ability to control energy, to influence foreign policy through supply chains. The U.S., once the energy kingpin of the West, now looks like a reluctant player in a game it used to own. If Washington doesn't pivot soon, if tariffs remain and exports continue to fall, the damage could be irreversible. Canada and Qatar are locking in markets that won't come back. And the world is learning how to live without American gas. Can the U.S. adapt? Maybe, but time is running out. The trade tables have turned, and the gas giants, they're not waiting. America's attempt to
Control the gas game with tariffs has turned allies into rivals and profits into losses. Canada and Qatar didn't just pivot, they dominated. This energy fallout is more than policy, it's a global power shift. And unless Washington wakes up, we may soon find ourselves watching world energy markets from the sidelines with the lights dimming and the gas bills rising. I'm Jonathan Geller, and this has been Live News 16. Stay alert, stay sharp, and stay tuned because the next chapter in this global energy war is coming.